What's good, y'all? So I guess y'all like the last little the last little vlog I did. Had a bunch of people send me some questions, had a bunch of people hit me up. Shout out to everybody that just hit me up on some love too. Like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but that's exactly what I needed to hear right now. So shout out to y'all. So I'm gonna try and get them out. I'm not gonna promise every day, right? Before I was like, I'm gonna do it every day. I'm not gonna promise I'm gonna do them every day, but I'm gonna try and get them out more often than not. A couple times a week, at a minimum 3 to 4 times a week. Try to, and just chop it up and answer some of the questions y'all had. One of the questions that I got in the last one that I thought was interesting was, what was the question? This is real, bro. Like that question came and went out of my mind. I sat down and went to plan out a whole video on it. What's the hardest part outside of the mental? Because I was talking about the mental in the last video. What's the hardest part for you that you've gone through while trying to be an entrepreneur? And I think almost every entrepreneur will tell you the same thing. It's patience. At least like in the beginning, right? Because like I said in the last vid, like you're at a time where you're trying to bet on yourself to make money. You're trying to bet on yourself to get further. You're trying to bet on yourself to take that next step, get to that next level. And you're confident in you. You believe in you. You believe that you got this money. I got it. But the hardest part for me was I was doing this at a time when I was working construction. So I'm getting up at 4:00 in the morning to do my work before the show. Then I'm leaving out of my house at 5 to be at work till about 2:30 to 3:30, depending on what time the job site was or how far the job site was or how many hours we were working. There were some times where I was doing the show, I was working 12-hour days, 10-hour days, you know what I'm saying? At work, you're editing content. And you're tired while you're doing all of that. You're exhausted while you're doing all that. And some of y'all jobs are probably the same way, bro. Like while you're doing all of this stuff, you're actually like physically exhausted. Like I'm dead right now. So you want it to happen right that moment. You want it to happen right at this time. That was the hardest part for me when I started this whole journey. Just the patience of waiting for that next step to come. And if I'm being real, it didn't come until like something crazy happened. That's the other part too, right? Like there's patience and there's fear. There are two different things. Not to say that I was afraid to take a step, but I knew I had responsibilities. At that time, it was just my wife. Right before I ended up getting fired, it was my daughter. But there were responsibilities that I had in place that I knew that I wasn't comfortable making the move with yet. And sometimes you never know whether whatever you believe in. For me, I believe that, you know, God helps you make moves in different ways. I believe that I was too scared to take the leap and he pushed me. And fear to take that next step will hold you back so long. And sometimes when you get to the other side, you be like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do this. And sometimes you get to the other side and you be like, this is the craziest idea I've ever had. Why the heck did I do this? Like there's no hard thought process with it, right? But I wanted to be patient because I knew what I was doing would eventually work. And when I got to the other side of it, I was like, yo, this is going to be dope. We can do so much more now because we have so much more time. But now you got to figure out how to put money in on top of that. But if you're patient enough and you work hard enough, the prosperity will come your way. But you do have to be working hard enough. And the hardest thing, right? Sometimes I think the other thing too, right? With patience and fear, there's a mix of two things, especially with young men. And in the black community, young black men, as for certain, right? There's two things that you want to happen. And it takes patience and dealing with fear. I have to be patient enough that I don't rush and move past the successes that could come because I'm trying to move too fast, while also living with the fear of, am I going to be successful before I get the opportunity to put my parents on, in a lot of people's cases, to put my mama on. That's a fear for me, to put my family on, to help people. I think that's the biggest patience, the biggest part that, right, like learning patience helps you with, because sometimes there's some people that do this just for themselves. Hey, I'm putting myself on, I'm trying to live for myself. Shout out to you. But for me, it's about helping my brothers not have to get up and go to work every day. For me, it's about making sure that all my mama bills are paid as well as my bills are paid. For me, it's about making sure that my dad doesn't have to worry about, paychecks and stuff coming in. He doesn't got to get up for work, that my brother is set. For me, it's about making sure that the people that I care about are put on as well as me. And some other things too. Like, the one thing that I really want to do, as y'all know, we got Ringo on the show, and Ringo has told me that, like, I was a big help to him because nobody had ever instilled confidence in him the way that I had. I realized at that point that I have a gift to pass my confidence on to other people. For me, I want to start working with charities. I want to start working with different organizations. The first one I really want to get into is working with people that have cerebral palsy and stuff like that because of Ringo's situation. But there's a lot of people out here that have disabilities that would be perfect for jobs like we're doing, because they're not dumb. They just have disabilities. They have a mind. They sit there and they watch more stuff than we do, because a lot of times they don't have the means to get up and get away. And so this is how they entertain themselves. They play the game. They do. There's so many people out there with disabilities that I feel like don't get somebody to put that battery in their back like I was able to do with Ringo. And so I want to start working with some of those organizations. Like, that's the part for me that being patient is the hardest for, because I know that I can change somebody's life, but I have to wait until I'm in a position to do it. I want to put money behind different causes, but I have to wait until I'm in a position to have the money to put behind those causes. Because the one thing I'm not going to do is put my family in a hardship to help somebody else. I will put myself in a hardship. I will put myself behind the 8 ball. I will allow myself to struggle to help somebody else to get to the point where they feel comfortable, but I will not allow my family to struggle. I will not allow my wife and my child to struggle. So for me, that's the hardest part, where I want to do so much. And one, I'm just not in those circles to know how to do a lot of that stuff. And two, I don't have the funds to do a lot of that stuff. And so it's the waiting game to get there. And it's, like I said, it's a fear that comes with it, right? You got to be patient while you're hoping and praying that your parents live long enough. And not to say my mom is like finna go or my dad finna go or nothing like that, but like, you're hoping and praying that they live long enough, not just to put a check in their pocket, but for them to see you do well. It's okay to say, I want to see my mama and I want my mama and daddy to see me do well and realize that they don't have to worry about me. That's really most entrepreneurs' goal. I want my mama to know that I'm okay. And I want my mama to be okay. And I want my daddy to know that I'm okay. And I want my daddy to be okay. Those are two things that I feel like a lot of people go through. Is at least me, right? Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I've had this conversation with a multitude of people, but everybody's different, dog. Everybody's a whole different person. Everybody's a whole different personality. Everybody's got a completely different journey. I don't want y'all to sit here and think that, oh, Pat's giving us the keys to the game. Pat's just telling you what Pat's going through. I told y'all, this is my therapy session. Welcome. What the heck is going on here? My computer just all of a sudden, the screens went out of nowhere. What's going on with that? Okay, and they just back. That random as heck. This is real, ain't it? I'm gonna be real with you. I don't cut none of this out, dog, because it's just what's happening. Now, I probably look like a fat slob sitting here like this, but whatever. But nah, man. To answer the question, you know, what was the toughest thing outside of the mental for me, and what's the toughest thing in this journey? Is patience. Like I said, can you keep your head above water long enough for the ship to get there? The ship is coming. I believe in every single person that the ship is coming. I believe that every single person out there has something that they excel at, and you just got to find a way to monetize on that. I believe that. How do you get to the ship? How do you get to the point where the ship or where your head is still above water for the ship to get there? That's what you got to figure out, man. That's what you got to figure out. Patience is hard. Fear is hard to deal with. To me, they both go together because it's like a suspenseful movie. But once you learn the patience, then you kind of learn how to pace yourself with it, right? The thing now is I've learned when to be patient. I've learned when to be aggressive. There's sometimes that it still comes back to bite you in the butt, but I've learned to go off of the feeling of, okay, I'm being patient now. I can be aggressive now. Let's go for this mug. At the beginning of the year, aggressive didn't work for me, right? We made a switch because we wanted to do a daily show. And I said, with the channel, I was doing so many videos a day that people got used to that. And I made a hard switch. I said, I'm going to go to a morning show so the kid can be on there and stuff like that. Didn't end up working out because one, we were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We were groggy. We were tired. We were trying to make it through a 2-hour show. And then we were trying to go through work on our daily lives and stuff like that. It just didn't work out. And it didn't make sense because like there were some days where kid end up having a work meeting early anyway and wasn't able to get there. There were some days where he was exhausted from working the night before and wasn't able to get there. So because of that, we were like, yo, let's go to the daily show. Yeah, it's more in the middle of the day. Yeah, right now in the position that he's in, he's not able to get there every single day, but that's okay. It's, you know, it's a patience of putting him on. He's making moves so that he can get back on the show every day. We're going to make some different changes so that we got the full team on the show every day. But I was being aggressive at the wrong time. It wasn't the right time for us to be aggressive. And because of that, I put the channel took a step back. The numbers went down because people were like, well, I didn't come here for this. I came here for the 5-minute short videos. Right. But now we're doing a daily show. The daily show's getting over 100 people every day. You know what I'm saying? It's growing. It's moving in the right direction. But I've also realized I have to still be patient with what we're doing. I still got to give you them short videos, right? So, and it's also playing into algorithm and stuff like that and what people are used to. But it's a whole bunch of different stuff with it. But I was aggressive at the wrong time and it didn't work. And there's going to be, I'm sure through this journey, there's going to be a million more times I do that. I'm sure there's going to be times where I'm aggressive at the perfect time and it hits like a charm, right? It's just about waiting for that and figuring out where that's going to be, when that's going to be. But patience to me is, if you can learn anything in this game and if you're going to be successful, that's the biggest thing. And that's the hardest thing to figure out, because especially if you're doing YouTube, if you're doing, boy, one of them plants out there started moving. I didn't know what the heck was going on. We got windows right here, man. One of them plants started moving. I was like, hold on, brother, what's going on out there? But no, if you're doing YouTube, if you're doing whatever you're doing, right, like Twitch, different platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, you got to keep going with crazy intensity in the beginning. Eventually, you'll build an audience that will come back no matter what, but you got to go with crazy intensity in the beginning and take that time out and develop that rapport and develop that building block with people, right? Because that's what's going to get you to the next level. And once you get that intensity, once you get in that rhythm, then you're going to start to see stuff take off very rapidly. But it takes time. It takes patience, because you will work extremely hard on a video, drop that mug, feel like I killed this, and nobody will watch it. And then you will be like, I don't want to do that again. You know how many videos I put out that got 200 views this year? But I knew, hey, just be patient. It'll come back. It'll start to move in the right direction again. You just got to start putting the content out that consistently. Keep putting these videos out. It doesn't matter if they keep getting 200 views. Eventually, they'll start to grow. They started growing again. And guess what? Because they started growing on that end, now The Daily Show, seeing more people in it because they're getting the alerts from YouTube. So patience is key. That's probably the biggest thing you can learn. The one thing that I'll leave you with is a quote. I don't even know who said the quote first. I'm not finna hit you with a Denzel Washington in this one. No clue who said the quote first. But it's one of my favorite quotes that I've lived with since doing this thing in construction, since all of that, right? Don't worry about the time that it's going to take, because the time is going to pass anyway. There's nothing you can do about the time. Don't worry about the time it's going to take, because the time is going to pass anyway. There's nothing you can do about the time. I understand the fear that comes with it, that you want to put on for your parents before they, you know what I'm saying, before inevitably everybody dies. That's your goal. That's my goal anyway. I want my mom and dad to see me doing well and realize that I'm able to take care of my family, my little brother, all that stuff. But I can't control what happens outside of my life. I can't control half of what happens in my life. When it comes to time and life and things like that, illness, sickness, stuff like that, right? So you have to control what you can control. And what you can control is how much you put in, how much time you put in, how much effort you put in, and not worrying about what the result of that time and effort is right away. That's my word for the day, y'all. I don't know if this hits home for anybody. I don't know if this works for anybody. I'm going to be real with you. Like I said, I get on this mug to talking to a mic and vent myself. These are real life experiences for me. The stuff that I'm telling you is stuff that I've been through, and the stuff that I will continue to probably go through, and the stuff that I'm dealing with in my life and in my mental state. Therapy didn't call me back, so this is my therapy. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me on another vlog, man. Hope this helps. Peace.